Hello fellow leggers, thank you for joining us once again in the heart of bustling London's West End, where we are going to the Wyndhams Theatre.
And we are seeing a Hollywood A-lister make his West End debut.
What?
In the Starry Messenger.
So stick around to hear all of our thoughts.
Find out how many stars.
And whether it's break a leg
or leg it.
Starry Messenger, who was the star? Come on, as we're talking about
Hold
stars.
your horses. Let's talk a little bit about the piece
No,
first.
we want to know
Written
about the
by
star.
Kenneth Lonergan.
Oh,
it tells
you
the
must.
story of Mark, an astronomer at New York City Planetarium, who has a chance encounter with a single mother when a catastrophic event rips through their lives and Mark is forced to reevaluate his place in the universe.
Wow, okay. So, who was the star?
Anyway, the piece premiered off-Broadway in
Are you not
2009, starring J. Smith Cameron in the role of Anne and Mathew Broderick as Mark. Fast forward 10 years and this new production stars Mathew Broderick.
No way. Okay, so first of all,
Yes.
so this isn't a new show.
No.
It's already been around a decade.
Yes.
And it had Mathew Broderick, and now
Yes.
he's doing it over here.
Yes, and Mathew
Okay,
Broderick,
right.
best known for probably The Producers. He played that on Broadway and on the film version. And he is probably best known for playing Inspector Gadget, I imagine. Go Gadget Broderick.
Yeah, he's big on films, isn't he, as
Yes.
well, Broderick?
This is this time he's alongside Elizabeth McGovern, who's best known for many years on Downton Abbey.
Yes, I remember her. She plays like the main woman in it. She's the mistress of the house.
Sam Yates is directing this production. He also directed Glengarry Glen Ross at the Playhouse that we caught. We've got a review for that. Also went out on a UK tour. Now, guys, it's an epic. It's around 3 hours, maybe slightly over, including the interval. But there is an interval, so stick around to find out all of our thoughts at that point.
And as usual, stick around to the end to hear all of our thoughts and find out how many stars.
We've come to the interval, which means it's time for the Break-a-Leggers
30-second interval breakdown.
Go, what do you think so far?
I am actually really enjoying it. It's a really funny piece, delivered with some really good actors that aren't overplaying or pushing anything. The text is really nice, so I'm really enjoying it. How about you?
Yeah, me too. I just think it's whizzing by. It's got a great pace, it's got a great humour. Mathew Broderick is a master of the sort of nerdy, awkward character, and he's cast so well in this. It's almost like it's written for him, and I can't wait to see what happens. And that's it, just like that, the Starry Messenger is over. So were you transported across the universe on a roller coaster rocket ride of emotions?
I was worried because something we haven't heard about was about how long it was.
Yeah, a lot of people say, whoa, it's
Oh my
you
goodness,
know,
it's a
bring
long
your
piece.
sleeping bag.
To be honest, I didn't feel as if it was long at all. The first act was over in the blink of an eye, and yet it was about 75 minutes. The second act is about an hour and a half. It felt like an hour to me. I was hooked on this piece. I was hooked on the direction of the plot. The characters were delivered so nicely. It's such rich characters,
as well.
natural characters in this evolving plot that I didn't know where it's going to go.
Absolutely.
And I think that's what I love. Sometimes, you know, when you can predict a piece sometimes, and I'm like, okay, this is where it's going to go. It's literally as if they rolled the dice with multiple endings, and whatever it rolled on was what happened in the next scene. Yeah, like it was unpredictable, which I tied into the kind of the chaos of the universe, and when bad and crazy things happen,
And you
and
have
they
to,
happen, we're
as
in a
a
hostile
human, we
world.
try to give things meaning and reason, whereas sometimes we just have to accept that there is none.
So I
There
really
is
enjoyed
no
it.
reason,
Yeah.
there is no meaning.
No reason,
And I
no
mean,
reason.
this is it. When you have a strong text, which is a
It's a good
fantastic
text.
play by Kenneth Lonergan, then there's very little you need to do in the production. I mean, fortunately enough, we're blessed with a fantastic production of this show, but I think that even I can understand why a director would fall in love with the text here. It's rich, it's layered, it speaks to humanity, and it's full, it's jam-packed with emotion and accessible emotion, because I think we can relate. The relatability's off the scale.
Yeah, and it's not given, they
No.
are just being.
Yes.
They are being in these situations, and as such we're able to feel and observe what's going on. It's like we're observing the universe. We are just observing what
Passive
happens in this
observers.
piece. Yeah, and it's so
That
good.
full understanding.
I
But
really
yeah,
enjoyed
my
it.
God, is it good. Other bits of the production I like, I mean, Sam Yates bringing it all together, obviously.
So direction was really good.
designer Neil Austin did ink, Lieutenant of Inishmore here as well. Thought the lighting was brilliant. Do you know what? One thing I did absolutely love was the sound, these
Really good
beautiful
pieces
moments
of interludes between the scenes.
Alexander Baranowski. I just thought that the music was just honestly sort of like heart. Like there were a few times my heart felt big, and the music was really drawing out the emotion that was stirring within the plot. The way they work well together.
Going back to I really like the set. I'm not sure who the set designer was.
Yeah, designer Chiara Stevenson.
What was really practical, because it's just
Same
a
as Glengarry
revolve,
Glenross.
which then kind of moves around between these three scenes, but also this really nice cyc at the back, which they projected moments of the universe on, skies on. So really nice use of projection.
Luke Hall's on projection design.
And those three elements on the revolve were gorgeous as well, so the lighting could come through it as well. You had really nice leakage of these moments. Just really nice lighting.
Absolutely.
Really nice production elements.
Let's move on to some of the cast members now. I mean, let's try and briefly mention all of them, I think.
Yes.
Joplin Sibtain as Arnold. We saw him in Jesus Hot the A-Train, and he was
I thought he was great in that.
He was funny in this, much funnier than the character he got to be in A-Train.
He's a really good actor.
Yeah, comic timing here. He got to show an element of himself which I had not seen in that piece, and I loved.
Yes, and I hadn't said this about this piece actually. It's really funny.
It is really
It's really funny. It's
Do you know
really
what? We
moving.
need
It's
to
educational. It
stop
talks about
and
religion.
rewind for a second. It's really bloody funny. Like
It's a comedy,
It
but a
is.
natural comedy. It's a black comedy
very
in a way.
black comedy. There's things that we shouldn't be laughing at, and I did think there's an awkwardness about it, but a beautiful one. And I think that the coming together of an audience reaction to those moments sort of makes you feel validated when you laugh at something you shouldn't, but you think it's okay because everyone else is laughing.
I was really
I
lolling.
had those moments.
I had a proper lolling in the aisles. Anyway, back to the cast.
Sid Segar as Ian, sort of, he has this great character. That's the character. You know, I
So
say every piece
sincere.
has a character you want.
Yeah.
I want that character.
That's the one you wanted.
Yeah,
Okay.
I thought he was great, hilarious without knowingly being hilarious. Not playing it for laughs, a real skill.
Great.
Now, Jim Norton. Where do we start with Jim Norton? He is
such
an
a good actor.
of sort of Ian McKellen heights, I would say. One of the greatest actors of his generation, multiple Tony and Olivier wins, and I feel blessed we got to see him tonight.
And he's really good. He's
Yeah.
got some really nice material in this.
yeah.
Loved it.
Sinead Matthews as Doris, the sort of daughter of Jim Norton's character of Norman. I could believable. That's it, because those people act exactly the way she acted in those situations.
Yeah, wrestling with,
to
you know,
explain it.
having a relative who is very sick and very ill, and you're the only one that's there
Dealing
having to
with
deal
it.
with that.
And then what are your priorities in those moments, and how do you make decisions about what's important and what's not? There's such dilemma, and she did it so well.
Really nice plot points. Can't really go into it because I don't want to spoil it, but
Yeah.
really nice stuff.
My
there.
God, was Jenny Galloway as Mrs. Sina just bloody hilarious.
That's another good part.
Yeah,
You want
another
a very
great
small
comic-
part, isolated
comic
scenes.
part. Obnoxious, I would call that.
Sincere.
Do you know how you get those obnoxious, stereotypically obnoxious Americans? You know, I don't want to kind of completely stereotype a whole nation, but she's what you'd expect of the interfering American know-it-all, will never accept an answer.
You get British
the
people like that as well.
obnoxiousness. Hold the phone, guys, because in this piece is a performance which is going to stay with us, I think, for a very long time. It's going to take a lot of beating this year.
Yes, it's a beautifully written part,
Yeah.
and like all beautifully written parts, it has to be performed bloody well
Yeah.
in order to carry. But the material is there, and blimey,
Rosalind Eleazar in the role of Angela. Like I say, I don't think I've
What?
seen
Amazing.
a more committed and more natural, a more loving performance. I felt like
she goes through so much as a character, such a journey in
Yeah.
there. and delivered just so naturally, so comfortable. Like character is all I can say.
Yeah.
And if you see this, you'll understand what we mean. Just natural character. She is going places.
She is at the beginning of what is going to be a magnificent career, and I think you should. We'll move on to the main two in a minute, but I think if you have one thing to come, it's so you can say you saw her here first, because do you know what? There's an Olivier nomination coming her way. I'm going to put my money in it. I'm good at this, guys.
Yeah,
I'm good at the predictions.
I think I'm getting good at it as well,
Yeah.
and I think it's very Olivier nomination
Best
worthy.
supporting actress in a play, and do you know what? Let's give her a Break a Leggers Award nomination as well for best supporting actress in a play.
I think it's very well
Rosalind
deserved.
Eleazar as Angela. She is just, I don't know how to sum it up in words how incredible she is, because of that just natural ability to go on a massive journey, and I was right there with her.
There's sometimes when it's just too much, when the actor gives too much, they're kind of giving us stuff, and she was one of the key people in just being there. Amazing to watch.
Amazing to watch.
Okay.
So let's move on to the big two now, and I say the big two. Elizabeth McGovern in the,
The
role
bigger
of
names, I
Anne
guess.
has such a small part, considering she's the one that's
Yeah.
on the posters, right? It's not a huge part, but I would say it's a pivotal role.
She has some beautifully written scenes between her and her husband. I saw relationships with that. I saw parts of our relationship.
Yeah.
Again, in the writing is so good,
Yeah.
but beautifully played as well.
It was the funniest thing is because they're two very different people. They're opposites as a married couple. The Broderick character of Mark and his wife Anne. But I saw parts of myself in both of them. I didn't
Yes.
say I was wholly Mark, and I
I'm also
wasn't
there as well.
wholly Anne. But
Yeah,
I was like, oh my
totally.
god, I could like uncomfortably so at times. I
Yeah.
thought, oh god, there are times when I'm these people, which is scary. But yeah, Elizabeth McGovern in the role of Anne. She's a great actress. I mean, she really is.
Which brings us nicely onto Mathew Broderick
The
himself.
big boy.
And again, he's brilliant. He
Yeah.
suits this role perfectly.
Yeah, and I think that's the point. When
Unassuming,
Yeah.
he's not innocent. There's just not much there, not much self-belief.
No.
And yet he's the pinnacle part in this whole piece, and
Yeah.
he's so interesting, even though there's not much going on for
What
him.
I would say for him, I think he's been cast to type here. Like, I didn't see, like, it wasn't like suddenly, like, whoa, I didn't know Mathew Broderick could do this. Like, he's taken on a Hamlet or one of those parts where, you know, you have to be able to completely transform. He played Mathew Broderick in a lot of other things I've seen Mathew Broderick in, but he's Mathew Broderick, and he's bloody good at being Mathew Broderick.
So it's almost as if this has been written for him.
Yeah,
It's almost as if
absolutely.
this is his part.
Yeah.
I understand why he did it a decade ago, and he's
Yeah.
come back into it, because it's almost like he's the best fit.
Which is
for this.
completely fine. Like, I don't have a problem with that. To see a master of that character, that naive, slightly geeky, slightly underconfident, you know, Leo Bloomness about it all, which is what it was. Inspector Gadget's sort of clumsy haphazardness about it. He's the best at doing that.
And hilariously funny without pushing himself trying to be hilariously funny.
Yeah.
He's just being him, he's just delivering the lines in the situation.
So let's round it up. I
Let's
think.
round it
Let's
up.
bring this to
Round it up.
conclusion.
Go
So,
on then.
I mean, it's called the Starry Messenger, so I bet you're wondering how many stars we're going to give this piece.
For this piece, Starry Messenger, currently playing here at the Wyndhams Theatre in London's West End, we are going to give 5 stars!
I can find very little wrong with it, guys. If I had to be uber critical, it's about 15 minutes too long for me, but that would be me really clutching at straws. All of the elements, do you know what? The payoff is greater than the length and the run time, which for me is worth sitting through those extra few minutes. Performances, outstanding. Writing, humane,
Brilliant.
beautifully observed, rich, with just a sense of understanding of the world, of each other, of people, of desperation. I could go on and talk about superlatives all day long for this one.
Yeah, it moves really well, really interesting developing plot. There's drama in there, some really rich characters. It didn't feel long for me. I was absorbed in it. I don't mind pieces being long as they're interesting.
As long as
And for
they're
me it
good.
was. So I was completely happy with it. And what is that? A Lega nomination in there as well?
I think
so.
Yeah, and I also
that's
think a
great.
Lega nomination for Best Play.
What?
Best Play. I mean, it's going to have to be, isn't it? It's a 5-star.
2019
Breakout
nomination for Best Play, The Starry Messenger here at the Wyndhams.
But that's just what...
Two nominations.
It's just what I think.
And it's just what I think.
What do you think? Are you seeing this piece? Let us know down below. If you want to be kept up to date with the latest things in the West End and in the regions as well, hit subscribe. Let us know you're there, guys, because we're the Breaker Leggers.
And we'll catch you again soon. Bye!